Hello, folks, and I'm going to pass you straight over to Trina, who is the official host, but we're kind of co-hosting. Welcome, everyone, and it's going to be a great show today and gathering. Away we go.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to our full moon party, as I like to call it. So I thought we could open the show today with a little choose your own adventure meditation, because we have the full moon in Sagittarius, which likes to explore and likes philosophy and likes spiritual stuff. And also, Jupiter just moved into Cancer today, and Jupiter brings spirituality to us too, and benevolence and luck. And, it's nice to think about the good things that were happening exactly 12 years ago, which was in 2013. And also, even before then, the 12 years prior to that, in 2001. So you could think of those 2 years to think, what were the good things happening in my life? Because those themes will probably come up again. So it's good if you could just grab a pen and paper to remember your answers. We're going to reclaim the moment where we may have lost or become disconnected from our intuitive gifts. All right. And we're going to reawaken these gifts under this Sagittarius full moon. Okay. So let's close our eyes and just take a deep breath to get into the zone here. Deep breath in, hold, exhale. All right. Get into the present moment, into your body. Deep breath again, hold. Now exhale and imagine you're in a forest and the moonlight, the full moon, is shining above us. And we're in the forest, and all of a sudden there's a rabbit, and he comes and he looks at you and he starts to run away. And you're like, I'm going to chase this rabbit. So you start chasing the rabbit, and he's just always out of reach. All of a sudden, the earth opens and you're falling like Alice in Wonderland, falling down, and you land softly on the moss and you look around. There is ancient books everywhere. It's almost like you've entered the Akashic records, but this is the library of forgotten magic. You see a glowing book. It's different than all the others. You just need to grab that book and you open it up. Now, what page does it say? What page number does it say? Now remember that and hold that in your mind, what page number that you chose, okay? Because now 3 doors appear. One has a flame symbol, one has the symbol of a wave, and one has the symbol of the wind. Which one do you choose? Okay, remember that. Now, we're just before we go through this door, we see 3 objects on a little table. One is a golden key, one is a mirror, and one is the wand, a magic wand. Choose one and feel the energy shooting up into your arms and into your chest, to that energy of your objects that you chose. Okay, now we're going to open our eyes, and I'm going to tell you, before we complete this meditation, what this all means, and then we'll close it by going back through the door. Okay, so the page number that you wrote down is the age of which something happened where you got disconnected from your intuition. Now, let's say you chose page 56 and you're not 56 years old yet. Well, you go 5 plus 6 and reduce it to 11, right? Or you could say 1 plus 1 equals 2. You reduce it. So if you chose a really big number like 249, well, you'd go 2 plus 4 plus 9. and that would equal 15. So it could have happened when you're 15, for example, or 1 plus 5 equals 6, which is even younger. Okay, so that age, think back what happened then that kind of made you feel afraid or scared or disconnected from your intuition. And now the door symbols. If you picked the flame, this is something happened with anger, or your passion in life got kind of disconnected, or the power you seek got disconnected with that fiery flame. If you chose the wave, it had something to do emotionally. This could be your intuition or your dreams, or maybe you were psychic and you were told to put that under the rug. And maybe you grew up in a religious community, for example, where these things weren't allowed to be talked about. And so you had to hide those emotions and push them down. Now, if you chose the wind, this was something about your ideas, your thoughts, your voice, your expression was stifled in some way. Now, let's talk about the object. Did you choose the golden key? Well, this unlocks the next part of your path. Did you choose the mirror? Well, this shows your true essence and mirrors back to you. And if you chose the magic wand as your tool, this is to reconnect your inner magic and your creative fire. Now that you have this knowledge, we're going to go back through the door. But before we go back through the door, we are going to see now the younger version of yourself of which you lost the intuition. Okay? You see that younger version of yourself, and you say to your younger self, "You didn't lose it. It was only sleeping. I am here now to bring it back." And I want you to give your younger self a hug. Feel that for a moment. Now you are ready to walk through the door back into this present moment. The chamber of books welcomes you like you're an old friend, because this time your energy is different. You walk taller, your steps spark the moonlight, and the white rabbit appears to you once more, but this time with a soft gaze. It nods, because guess what? You've passed the test. Now you can rise upwards, upwards, back through, up, 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 up. And you can, when you're ready, open your eyes and start this new journey, starting with the full moon in Sagittarius. And there we go.
Wow. So, thank you, Trina. So, we are now live on YouTube, and welcome to the greater audience. Hopefully, lots and lots of people. And I'm going to switch over to gallery view because we've got a really great bunch of people here. Trina, did you want to do anything else right now?
No, I will save more for later after other people share their stories and their stuff with us.
Okie dokie. Well, look, I'm very honored to introduce Deborah, who's probably our highest profile person here, but we're full of high profile people. So, not wanting to put you on a pedestal, but I love what you do. Please tell us, Deborah, about evolutionary leaders.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. I just want to start by saying that I am not a person of high profile. I am simply a connector who has the privilege of having a really beautiful job to be part of my mission here on planet Earth as the director of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle of the Source of Synergy Foundation. I think the idea of evolutionary leadership in this particular moment of time is really important. And I'm sure that every one of you is part of this call that the people in our community have dedicated their lives to make the world a better place for everybody and all life, to dedicate our lives to creating a whole new story for what it is to be human on planet Earth. We've come a long way since we lived closer to the Earth, and that has had a lot of benefits and also some given us some real challenges to face now, and particularly in terms of that disconnect from the Earth that gives us life. We need to find our way. I don't want to say back to harmony, because I really don't see it as going back. And I'm sure that all of you also feel it as going forward to the next level of human evolution, where we go up the spiral. You can't go back down. So the Vedic tradition tells us that we're at the crossroads of a 26,000-year cycle, that the Kali Yuga is upon us, and we're moving into the golden age right now. So, okay, we can't see it yet because it's a cycle, and we're at the, sort of the bottom place where there's chaos all around us. But this is the beginning of the climb up to something beyond what we can possibly imagine. So this is my hope for humanity, that we can evolve our consciousness and start to live from our hearts instead of our wallets. And that will be the key to moving into this golden age together. And it's going to take every single one of us. So thank you so much, Michael, for convening this community around the strawberry moon. And I love that image. I mean, it is strawberry time. I remember from when I was a kid. And we went I grew up in Manhattan, but we went to far into the country, like an hour's drive into New Jersey at the time. But we could go into the fields and pick the little wild strawberries, and there was nothing like it. So let's hold the image of the little wild strawberries that are sweeter than any of the big fat ones you get in the supermarket. And think of ourselves as holding that seed of deliciousness and goodness and beauty. And that seed, we will hold the light of that seed through the darkness of these times. We are needed to hold that light until everyone can see it, and we truly step into an age, a golden age. It's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's amazing. I'm going to share your website, evolutionaryleaders.net.
Sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah, sign up for the newsletter, that's for sure. Yeah. There you go. You can sign up there. Yes, hopefully someday someone will nominate me. I'm not quite a full leader as yet.
Of course you are, Michael. And it was never our intention to be this sort of exclusive club that nobody could join, because you have to get nominated from within. And when we started, there were only 35 evolutionary leaders, and most of them were very well-known authors like Deepak Chopra and Greg Braden and Jean Houston and Barbara Marx Hubbard and people like that. And now there's 300. So I know that the next phase will be some way, and we don't know what this is going to look like yet, because we're not prepared to handle it, because we're very small in terms of administrators, staff. But we would love to have a way that people who self-identify as evolutionary leaders, as all of you are, can join us. But we need to really have a concept for that, not only of how you can join, but what would be the benefit for you of becoming part of this community. And then how do we manage, what could be that kind of influx? So it's a great challenge, but we are committed to our own evolution as an organization. We are stewarded by the Source of Synergy Foundation, which is a really visionary nonprofit. So I hope we will welcome you, Michael, and all of you someday soon.
Thank you. Yeah, wow. Anyway, I think you're doing fantastic work, and thanks for coming. Yeah,
Thank you. You'll forgive me if I can't stay on very long.
yeah, fine. So I will pass to Adrian now. And he and I have known each other, wow, I think early 90s. We first met, maybe late 80s, I'm not sure exactly. We recently reconnected. We were discussing a new podcast, quite an unusual one for Beyond Being Human. Before we get into that, let me introduce Adrian.
Hey everybody, a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, we've known each other for over 20 years. Met through esoteric circles and exploring the mysteries. Always great to, reconnect with people and meet new people in that sort of community. I'd like you to lead a little bit, Michael, because you invited me here to talk about it, and we did have this conversation. So maybe if you could kind of kick it off.
Absolutely, yeah. The thing with Beyond Being Human is it's a community of collaborators. That's kind of where it's all growing to over the last few years. And I'm really, really excited how much and how fast it is actually now growing. And there's so much kind of happening in terms of new podcasts. This is a new podcast. We've done one episode. Pollyanna, unfortunately, wasn't able to continue on. She's got too much happening in her life. But we did one with John Seed, who was an amazing guy, activist, ecological, spiritual warrior, really. This goes into our ecology section of the Virtual Realm Exchange. And in talking with Adrian, I was thinking, well, how does this discussion fit in? What we were discussing was how, well, kind of exploring the nature of evil and the kind of darker side. And we were discussing about how, in actual fact, the two sort of work each other, where the darker pushes people to the light and possibly even vice versa at times. So picking a particular topic is not easy for this discussion, but I think it probably lives inside spirituality. But as I consider all sorts of possibilities, there's probably going to be lots of podcasts opening up around that particular area because it is the central area for Beyond Being Human. Maybe Adrian, open up about what we were talking about a little bit.
Thank you, Michael. Now I just have a bit more context now. That's great. The discussion we had, and this is very much an exploratory conversation, so I guess we're really love to hear your thoughts. So, the discussion was about the importance of evil in a way. I don't think I like the word evil. We're actually good and evil. It's very dualistic, right? But going beyond the duality of good and bad, right and wrong, should and shouldn't, all of these things, to a place where we become creators, taking a sort of a framework or trying to create a language, explore more language around how do we go beyond these things so we can actually see the sort of meta structures that are in play. The universe runs on sort of from a physics point of view, entropy and negentropy, the opposite of entropy, which is basically what's driving life. And so there's two kind of polarized forces, if we look at it that way. More of the sort of Jupiterian growth, expansion, vibrant, life-giving forces, and then the sort of contracting, darker forces, Saturnian forces, which constrict, crystallize, control, and law and order and all of that kind of stuff. And they play off against each other and creates power gradients in the world, which are the boundaries, the edges of those power gradients and differentials are where life happens and where change happens and where things emerge. In permaculture, it's always on the boundaries where things happen. So to take a sort of an ecological sort of view of it, it's always on the edges of things. So just wondering whether this is something we can explore in a podcast series, maybe a short series, and we explore the edge of that and the interactions. So it's like saying, well, let's not make the darkness bad. Let's make it something that is necessary part of our world. You know, it's where there's an edge there that we can explore, not to try to make things right or wrong, but just to try to explore that a little bit. And that's, I think, what we were talking about, Michael. What does that open up?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a huge conversation. Obviously, we're probably going to have lots and lots of long discussions with different kinds of people, and like half a dozen people spring to mind if we can attract them enough to do a podcast with us. So watch this space, join our newsletter, please, and you'll get to hear about these things as they unroll. Trina, would you like to pop in with anything at this particular time?
Yeah, I was thinking about the whole dualistic nature of the reality, whatever that we live in today. And even just the fact that the solstice is coming up, right? So for Australia, you guys are having the winter solstice. And for us up here, we're having the summer solstice. So there's another example of the duality, light, dark. And that's really interesting. With the podcast idea, I like it because without these contrasts and these duality, we wouldn't understand what is good for us in our life or what is bad for us in our life. We wouldn't understand that. And the way we see the two is very subjective. I think it's cool to think about this full moon, Jupiter. You actually mentioned Jupiter, but Jupiter in Cancer here, and also the solstice. Three things that ask us, what do we need to illuminate in our lives? Where are the miracles in our life? And, you know, I just learned a cool way if you're into manifestation, instead of doing affirmations or instead of doing I am this and that's not, it's tricking your subconscious by saying, why do I have the job of my dreams? Why is this podcast so great and popular? Why? And then your brain starts to work for your subconscious starts to work towards those. And so I've tested this in the field and it's been working for me, the whole reframing everything into the why. So I think that that's kind of interesting because I do believe that abundance is our birthright. And abundance doesn't always mean about finances because Jupiter's bringing in some benevolent energy of abundance, but that's not finances. It's the abundance of possibility. It's the abundance of opportunities. It's the abundance of miracles in our life and of synchronicities. So I think that the power is already within us. And this whole solstice, full moon, and Jupiter and Cancer, they're all combining and working together to awaken something that within us all in different ways. So this is very interesting that we've all come together tonight to discuss such topics. And I think that it's synchronistic indeed.
Yeah. Um, I haven't really studied astrology, but it's always very interesting. And I like to hear the implications and the possibilities. Someone who is more familiar with astrology is Anthony Kilner, who runs the Supernal magazine.
Hello, everyone. I wouldn't say astrology is my strong point. I find it fascinating just how everything impacts us on so many different levels. And whether it's astrology, whether it's energy, I tend to work with energy and frequency more than astrology, but it still is all energy and frequency. So So yes, thanks for having me on, and thanks, Trina, for your words. It's nice to meet up with a whole bunch of people that I wouldn't normally get a chance to meet in my little world. But Supernal magazine, just to give everyone a bit of a background, started just pre-COVID after my third near-death experience, of which my people, my higher self, my guides, were all in the same boat, said, it's time for you to start writing this magazine that you've been talking about for years. With sort of 30 odd years of journalistic background in different things, Supernal was born. And within a couple of months, about 3 months, had our first issue come out in 2019. So all our writers are volunteers, and Michael being one of them. And we sort of look at mainstream topics and try and really give them a different aspect. So not necessarily a religious aspect, but a spiritual, energetic type access to people, so that, you know, whether we're covering things like domestic violence or suicide or some of these other major topics that we live with every day, right through to ghost stuff, and we've got our new paranormal pages starting up in the next issue. It's all about sharing our education and sharing people's stories, so that it spreads that word out to everybody else to go, you know what, this is okay. I can feel like this. I can live like this. I can explore different topics, and it's not just woo-woo type stuff that everyone sort of says that, you know, I'm a medium, and I've been teaching intuitive development for nearly 20 odd years now. And I just love everything about what we do, that it is a lot of work. And I notice Rob Kirby on. Hi, Rob. Nice to see your moving face, who's got a story in our latest issue as well. So we're all about sort of educating, sharing our education, our passion, our stories. We don't tend to run with A-list, mainstream media people. Our people that write for us, and our stories are everyday people with an amazing life story that they share. And so it's a lot of fun. It's certainly educated me a hell of a lot more than I was expecting when I first started. And we're growing. We have about somewhere around 10,000 average readership per issue. And we've grown from nothing. We got started with no budget. Spirit just said, you got to do it. The name came from up on high, depends on your beliefs, but it's certainly given to us. And that's really been a thing. So we offered everything free of charge for many years, but the cost of operating has gone up. So we've had to sort of introduce a free listing each issue. So what's on screen now, the Light and Enlightenment, that's available free to anyone who goes online to look at it. And then when the next issue comes out, that goes into our back issues, and people can access the back issues for a small charge of, at the moment, $18 for a year. And then we have a bigger issue on top of that at $51. So we do our interview series. We do a lot of work, just again, connecting with people wherever we can find them that follow and love what we're trying to do. And really the crux of it is just sharing our education and our stories to help people improve their own lives for themselves. So that's a little snapshot of it all.
Thanks, Anthony. And I've been really enjoying doing the column articles, and maybe it'll grow into longer articles at some point. And
I think the hard part for you is to keep it down to the word count that I've got to work with, Michael.
Exactly. I could easily do double. Yeah. But as you saw on the Beyond Being Human website, you can tune into my offerings there and have all of the links that go to Supernal Magazine online. And it's a great magazine. And like occasionally it comes out in print as well as online. And it's beautifully designed and great authors. And I'm very proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that the passion that my writers share with people, it's really evident in their writing. And, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and where I live here in Melbourne and Victoria, one of the hardest hit lockdown states in the world. It caused major problems with people's mental health. Our suicide rates went through the roof, and they're still going. There's all sorts of things. So we try not to focus on the negative aspects of all of that, and try and turn everything into a positive and give people different perspectives. And my space and listening to what Trina said, and I can't think of her name, that Reverend before. It is about finding your authentic self. It's coming from a place of love rather than a place of fear. So your duality comes into it again. And I'm very big on promoting coming from your higher heart as the power source, and creating a love in that space where fear and protections and things aren't needed, because you're walking in your strength, in your authenticity. And that's certainly my ethos and what I teach and share with my groups.
Thank you. Yeah. Our third byline is choosing love all, in caps, ways, and along with exploring our multidimensional nature and nurturing our divine spark. And speaking of divine spark, I'd like to pass to Rob Kirby, since you mentioned him, and I'm glad you could make it here, Rob.
Hello, everyone. I like what you've all said so far. So it gives me a lot of support, because, just what Anthony and the others have said about the darkness is, of course, I'm back in Southern California, but I'm getting constant calls from former clients and friends in Australia that are in crisis. It's just, it's overwhelming me. And I'm instead of getting caught up in the political craziness that's worldwide, I'm wanting to get people to explore their darkness, which to me, so far, that's what this has been about. So it's very exciting. And I think that it's interesting. Dr. Wilhelm Reich said in the 40s, right in smack in the middle of World War II, if we don't start owning our darkness, we'll transfer it onto every other country. So he said transference is individual, and it's also what countries do politically. So we got to take our power back and find our hearts, find that love, and forgive each other. And we're beyond human. We live forever. But it's when people are scared and fearful and contracted, it's hard for them to see that. So I have my hands full, but I appreciate the support here, Michael.
Thank you, and I appreciate your generosity in supporting me at my time of crisis, I guess, sort of loss of confidence and not being able to get work. This is going back 10 years now. And in fact, like I've said it before, but I probably couldn't even do what I'm doing now without having done a couple of years of workshops and trainings with you. And it was very, very powerful, diving very, very deep. And thank you again. So, moving on, Trina, would you like to jump in with anything else right now?
I feel like this is a good time to sort of do a collective, real quickie card reading for us moving forward. I really like that, moving away from fear and into our power. I do feel like that's a big thing. I mean, a lot of my clients, they're stuck because of something they're scared of. Like, fear is definitely there, right? Fear's a thing. So I think it's cool that we're all coming together, supporting each other. And maybe we could, if you like pulling cards, we could talk about, well, what's our current situation here for everybody. Let's just quickly see here. I am using our cards. I'm giving a little plug for myself here, but I just want to show you what cards I'm using. The Power of Eight Chakra Lenormand and the Power of Eight Chakra Oracle. I'm an intuitive guide with a chakra vibe, so that's how we're going to do that. Okay, so let's talk about, what do we need to illuminate? I want to go back to that with this full moon illuminating Jupiter in Cancer, intuition and sensitivity and emotions that may have been buried for a long time that are starting to come up with the solstice coming up as well here in June. We need to illuminate the whip card, which is conflict in our life. That could be that juxtaposition or the duality that we talked about. The whip can often mean verbal problems, maybe it's thing when it comes to our relationships. And for some, the whip card can mean it's time to get back on the exercise routine. Okay, your body wants to move now. So that's something that could be illuminated. The way we talk and communicate with each other is illuminated with the whip, and also can be our physicality, the fitness, and that too. And then, let's talk about a chakra sort of, because they all mean something, and let's just find where could we work on when it comes to the chakra. Now, I know a lot of people who are higher consciousness feel that the chakra system is actually a prison, but to me, it's a blueprint. It's just a way, just like astrology, just like cards, it's a way of measuring and seeing and diagnosing. So that's why I'm going to use the chakras for us all today. And look, I am worthy of love. And we talked about love. It matches Michael's beautiful green shirt, that color of the heart chakra, giving and receiving love coming from the heart rather than the brain, which we talked was it the Reverend that talked about that with the love? And so I am worthy of love. Okay. And this is a loving energy with Jupiter in Cancer and the full moon in Sagittarius, wants to love, wants to nurture, and being worthy of it. You're worthy. I love you, and let's spread the love. And like you said, love is one of the highest frequencies, right? Right up there with peace. If you measure the frequency of words, which I know some of you know about the machine that measures frequency of verbal words, well, peace and love are at the top there. So I am worthy of love. So that's very good. And someone else talked about forgiveness. And a good thing to do on a full moon, I just want to put this out there, is to write a letter to someone you need to forgive. And if you can't think of anyone, put yourself, s- sign it, and fold it up and burn it under this full moon. And by the way, it can be 2 or 3 days before or after the full moon. It doesn't have to be right on the day, you know what I mean? Because energy ripples out, like when you throw rocks into the lake and it skip rocks and it does the ripple effect, right? So it's like a rippling energy. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Michael, for letting me share that reading with you all.
You do it so well. Thank you. Let's go over to a new friend. We haven't really connected all that much as yet, but Jenna, say hi.
Hi, new friends. I'm suddenly finding myself with 22 new beautiful friends, and I am loving it. I just met Michael. I can't believe it was only 10 days ago. So, my name's Jenna. I am from the United States. I live in Connecticut. So, I'm an East Coaster. In my this lifetime, I've owned 2 beautiful holistic centers here in the state. So, my 2 passions are humanity and helping humanity raise consciousness through all kinds of alternative medicines and practices. I'm certified in a number of different modalities. I won't list them all here. And my second passion is protecting the planet, the beautiful planet that we live on. And I genuinely believe that if we don't tackle both of those things, helping humanity connect, live from their hearts, as you're all saying, balance the duality of darkness and light, raise our consciousness, we need to do that. And we also need to come together and really move to a different phase of evolution for the planet, moving from extraction to regeneration and really moving from scarcity into abundance. And so that is my mission. And the 2 organizations that I am helping to spearhead. And okay, this is how Michael and I met. I am co-director of an incredible group, myself and Kamara Kassin, who's actually the founder of the organization. What is Masterminding Eden? Together, we're hosting an event next year. The location to be determined, but we're bringing together 300 of the world's experts from 18 different fields, everything from education, transportation, renewable energy, to wisdom keepers and indigenous tribes, to healers, to artists, to truly design a village and systems that would support people on the planet. So it's going to be a month-long immersive co-creation lab. And we're inviting anyone that feels called to come. We have 18 different categories. This is the website. You can kind of see we already have an incredible group of people who are contributing to this massive lift. To redesign the future of humanity is a bit of a big lift in every aspect. And so we're trying to bring the world's people together who feel that mission in their heart together to be able to do that. So these are our 18 focus groups. We've already began gathering. We have weekly core team meetings. We have over almost 200 people who have already applied to come to the event. We are looking for funding so that we can help people, can subsidize people coming to the event. You can come for a week, you can come for the whole month. So really, we want to create a new blueprint for civilization so that anywhere, any small or large community, any city, any group of people, any one person can go ahead and make the change over to the way that they live in all areas. And so it has been just an incredible organization. There's Kamara. I just keep meeting incredible humans every single day, like Michael and now all of you, and realizing that genuinely we all came here for a purpose, right? We all came here during this lifetime, during this critical part in human history to do something extraordinary. Because I believe that unlike any other time in human history, the soil is fertile for the future, to design something new that benefits all of humanity and benefits the planet. And I can tell you that in my previous career in renewable energy, I have traveled the globe. I have done renewable energy and sustainability missions in remote villages worldwide. And I can tell you that humans are far more similar than we are different, regardless of what the quote unquote media tells us or anything that's out there. We know that we are all one, right? We're all one with each other and we're all one with the earth. And so I think this next phase of human evolution is going to be, we all hold a piece of that puzzle. We all hold an incredibly important piece of this next phase of humanity. And we at Masterminding Eden want to bring together that whole entire puzzle all together, and not only in person, but online, to truly create this blueprint of the future. So the way that I came across Masterminding Eden is because I am the founder of an initiative called Aurora Rising, and it's extremely similar. So if you think about Masterminding Eden is the framework, and it's going to be the blueprint of how to build this new civilization. And we're not just talking physical cities, we're talking about everything from education to governance to healthcare systems. Because the reality is that incremental small changes are not working, and we need to think radically different. We need to be bold, we need to be visionary, and we need to create the future now. We need to be the bridge for people, going from systems that promote scarcity, systems that extract from the planet, and we need to be the bridge to a whole new world. I am building in the Northeast here. It's not built yet, but it's going to be a prototype city for 10,000. It's going to be a living prototype where we literally test new ways of transportation, new ways to live, new ways to govern, new ways to educate, new ways to care for our elderly, new ways of healthcare. And we want to bring that framework to the rest of the world. And so I'm just excited to continue meeting incredible people that are on the same path. Whatever your modality is, whatever you're working in, that is what we're doing. And the last thing I'll show you is just a little vision of the first city. So we actually have some land in upstate New York that we're looking to secure. It has a 215-acre freshwater lake. It would just be the first city. And so my goal would not only build the first city as a prototype, but and everything, climate resilient, community-led governance, resource independence, all the systems would be internal, closed loop, everything, but also bring this to existing cities to help them transition over. Because again, I'm so passionate about creating the future now. We can't wait. We can't wait for systems to collapse. We can't wait for that to happen. We have to create now with our hearts. We have to show the world what it looks like, what we all know is possible, because we all do it in our everyday lives. So I'm just thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be part of this community now. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Trina. Thank you, everyone that I've met so far. And I'm going to be quiet. I could talk a lot. I'm Italian, so I'm going to be quiet. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna. It's so amazing looking at both of your projects, and I'm really excited to get involved more with Masterminding Eden and now Aurora too. And Jacques Fresco kind of, I think, was one of the early ones building that sort of framework and
The
activities.
Venus Project. That is how I met Kamara and Masterminding Eden. I know Roxanne from the Venus Project. I visited their sites, and so that is, you nailed it, Michael. Jacques Fresco is how this whole thing came to be, and I just got full body chills. So thank you for saying that.
My pleasure. And yeah, I think it's a very, very important kind of development and should involve as many people as possible. So that's why I wanted to highlight it here today. So thank you. Now we're going to have a musical interlude and introduce Ondina.
Greetings, everyone.
Hey. So Ondina had a podcast for a while. It's kind of on pause, not a podcast, but more like a publishing of different, what would you call them?
Transmissions. I would call them transmissions, like radiant living light transmissions.
Beautiful work. And I'm going to quickly just share a brief one from your YouTube channel.
Greetings, beloved. We honor you, your presence, life, the role you have played within our experience. For yours has not been an easy one, not at all. Silent witness we were of your many challenges. Keen observer of the multitude of triumphs, highlighting your strength and resilience. Like a sponge, we absorbed flavors of all of it. From our innocence, taking note of each and every detail, and thus choosing aspects from which to develop our own definitions and standards of self, effectively establishing what we thought to be a better template of being. Obliviously ignorant of the self-inflicted prison we of our own volition were erecting for ourselves. Understanding now that very little of that was reflective of truth, our divine truth. It was merely a performance by the play's actors through whom we lost us in believing ourselves to be. Operating as best we could from the grossly limited perspective held within the moment. But oh, how these times they are a-changing. The ancestral voices have awakened, calling to us, beckoning us inward in complete surrender to hear the songs, their whispered wisdom, such that we might step into realization of all that they could not.
That's beautiful, really lovely. And tell us more about like where you're coming from with all of that. And I know you do light language too. I won't put you on the spot right now, but tell us about what you do.
This particular series is intended to, all of my work is intended to evoke emotion and provoke thought. Because from my perspective, from our perspective, because multidimensionality, I've stepped into all of that. So I'm fully realized now, right? But the thing is, many people think there's something to be done, there's something to be attained, when really the work is surrendering. You are love. You exist as love, surrendering to the fullness of that. And this series has been downloaded to help us step into remembrance of that, because the the path of humanity has been trying to fix what's been broken, right? But the issue is, you can't fix what's broken with the same energy that was used to create the issue in the first place. So there's this steady decline of a downward spiral until you connect the dots and realize there's no way to fix with the energy that already exists. You have to create with brand new energy. And the only way to do that is step into the truth of who and what you are. So surrendering to your truth, because your truth already is. It's the illusions that everybody gets caught up in that prevents one from stepping back into the truth of self. So I would encourage you to really listen to those words and allow it to spark your remembrance. That's what it's for, to spark your remembrance, to bring you back into the truth of who you are, to help you, assist you in stepping back into the truth of who you are. So the fullness of my body of work is this. It's called the mastery of being. And specifically, it is the art of becoming through the mastery of being. That's loaded. That's loaded, because humanity thinks there's something to be done. There's some steps that must be taken. There's a framework that I must create that others must follow. But really, we are each projecting our own reality, and it's our work individually to step into the truth of us, because nobody is living life from your perspective. You are the only one serving as you on this planet. So nobody can tell you that you are getting it wrong. You have to step into the truth of you in order to know how it is that you do what you do, and what it is that you're here to do in the unique way that only you can do. Here, there's only one you, right? There's only one you. It's so simple. It's so simple. It bypasses so many, but it's expressly simple. Step into the truth of you. Have the courage to discover you, and have the courage to live your truth.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I'm feeling Trina wants to say something.
You know what I was thinking, Michael? I'm watching everybody's shirts. Okay, so and I was wearing the light blue, which resonates with the speech. I express my truth. She actually said that a few times. And then you with the green, which was the heart chakra, and we had pulled that card, I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of love. And so it's interesting. What did you wear today? Like, look at your shirt right now, everyone. And you'll know that energy that you're maybe trying to align with. For example, I see now that I wore black because I was going to this special show as a co-host, and there was a little bit of nervousness. Sharon, you can attest to that, right? Sharon helps me out with some nervous stuff and activations today before the show. And I realized I'm wearing black as a protective, like the root chakra for security. And so, you can look at what clothes you're wearing right now, and you could do a reading on yourself about what you're, embodying. So I thought that was kind of cool. I'm watching everybody's clothes right now, and kind of feeling what they're trying to express and generate, we'll say, and create. So I thought that was neat.
Yeah. Did you want to have a bit of a rave now before we move into a much more community group? And I'm going to jump to Maureen in a minute to respond to a lot of what's been going on, and then open up to responses from everyone about on Dina's work. And then later on, Dana, if you're still here, maybe you'd like to share one of your videos. Let's explore the theme of truth, expansion, and the cosmic self. Trina?
Yes. I always like exploring the cosmic self and the cosmos. I like all that stuff. I'm still caught up on Jenna's project. I'm still thinking of that because you know how the universe speaks to us all the time and sends us, it's like a mirror. Well, a few days ago I watched Common Ground documentary on Amazon Prime, which, had Woody Harrelson and other advocates who for regenerative farming, instead of tilling and using pesticides and poisons, they're using multi-crops, using these techniques where you're kind of mimicking Mother Nature and you're working together, which and it can grab the nutrients of nitrogen and things and put it back in the soil, and then the ones underneath, the microorganisms. Anyway, they're all working together, and then Jenna's fabulous. Like I'm still thinking about that. How we do need a new, better way of doing things in all aspects of this reality. And I really think it's cool that higher minds are here tonight to discuss this. And it fits perfectly, Michael, under your umbrella beyond being human. Like, I love this multidimensional feeling too, and how we can all kind of work together and combine. And I don't know, I'm really enjoying this. I just want to say that, but I'll leave the floor now to someone else because this is so fascinating.
Yeah. And Susan, would you like to have a quick word about what you're doing?
Yes, thank you so much, Michael, and thank you to everyone who's here. It's just an honor to be here today. I actually have 3 names. I usually introduce myself by all of them. My English name, of course, is Susan, and my Hebrew name is Sarah from my mother's side, and my Tlingit name is Chaaksik, and Chaaksik means eagle daughter. And I had the honor of being adopted by Jim Walton, who was the founder of the Spiritual Unity of Tribes gatherings. My work has been inspired by Jim and the teachings of the Baha'i faith. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. The Baha'is believe that the spiritual teachings of the Baha'i faith inspire us to form deep and diverse relationships and build communities that nurture the well-being of everyone. And honestly, that's a lot of what a lot of you have been talking about. And it's based on the idea that there is only one God and we are all one family. And in the midst of the turbulence of the world today, the Baha'i faith can be a haven. The founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, which means the glory of God or the glory of the Lord, taught that there's only one unknowable God, and all the world's great religions spring from the same divine source. And that true religion is the cause of peace and unity. And that the next stage of advancement of civilization toward which we must all direct our actions is the establishment of a new social order, which is based on the principle of the oneness of humanity. My work has been involved in a very small little aspect of that, which is come from the teaching, an indigenous teaching that you might be familiar with. And that is that there won't be peace on earth until the voices of the grandmothers are heard. And I had the unique and amazing opportunity to travel from Siberia to Patagonia on a north-south route, which in indigenous culture, north-south represents the journey from the head to the heart. And it also represents the good red road. And on that journey, I had an opportunity to interview grandmothers all from the farthest north place on earth where people live to the farthest south. And I found that this teaching about the voices of the grandmothers needing to be heard is in every culture and in every place on the earth. And one of the greatest things that it gave me, I did a documentary film, but one of the greatest things I learned that's in concert with the Baha'i teachings is that we need to learn to work in circles. We need to learn a teaching that grew out of this grandmother's work is that heart sharing and sacred listening. And that's what I've been trying to bring into every circle and every group that I become a part of. And what heart sharing and sacred listening is that in our Western culture, we've learned how important it is to speak what it is that we want to share, but we haven't learned very well what it is to listen. And sacred listening is listening to the voice of every person as if the voice of the Creator were speaking. And heart sharing is learning how to share not so much what is in our heads, but what comes from our hearts, the way each and every one of you today has been doing. It's so beautiful to see a reflection of all of you who are working to building this better world and building unity and building oneness and recognizing the oneness of all of us, no matter where we come from. So I'm honored to be a part of Beyond Being Human and do some service work. I'm working with some others to provide circle work for young people who want to come in and learn more about sacred listening and heart sharing. I also have a Sunday evening group where we explore some of the teachings of the Baha'i Faith, but we do it using the circle model and really learn how to listen to one another. So thank you for allowing me to be here and for listening to the grandmothers and myself as a grandmother and Indigenous teachings. And for all of the work that you are all doing, I just want to reflect back. You're all amazing and you're part of building, I believe, this world, this better world, this new world that has to be brought into and is being born. And in the Baha'i teachings, we call that building the lesser peace, and that we are promised that despite all the degradation that we're seeing around us, and despite all the difficulties that so many of us in the world are facing, that we are destined to move into the next phase of humanity's growth and development, which is world unity and a recognition that our unity comes in our diversity, not in our sameness. So thank you for the opportunity to be here, Michael, and thank you for the support, and thank you to all of you. Gunashish, which means thank you for all my relations.
Thank you, Susan. And it's so good just getting to know you more and more. And I've been on some of those calls that you do with the Baha'i people, and I'm getting more and more impressed with the whole Baha'i movement. And we actually should explore that in an interview or something. And Anthony, maybe you'd like to invite Susan to do an article.
Uh,
Yes,
Thank you, Michael. I am a writer. I've written several books, and one of them is called Women's Voices, The Wisdom of the Grandmothers, which reflects the interviews that I did with grandmothers around the world. Prior to that, I was a journalist, and I've done a lot of different things in my life, primarily with women's voices, which is most of you can probably figure out that I have trouble with my vocal cords, and I had to learn how to speak all over again when I was a teenager. I lost my voice for more than a year. And so I learned about the power of our voice and also the power of our ability, as has been mentioned earlier, to use our words to bring together people in love and unity. So thank you.
to answer your question, Michael, and thank you, Susan, is I'm taking sort of notes for thoughts and ideas, because if we're going to share to the world and to people that are not just, wanting to get out of the mainstream, we need to have voices heard. And I've had a lot to do with Indigenous culture here in Australia. I actually grew up with a family of Aboriginal people, so I have very open views, and what they're offering is exactly that. I've sat with grandmothers up in the outback of Australia and been very privileged to hear their stories. And so that's what we're all about, sharing. So thank you for sharing, and I'll get some details off people later. So yeah, thank you.
I would encourage everyone to go to Susan's profile page on Beyond Being Human. You've made the Wisdom of the Grandmothers documentary free for everyone to watch, so you can catch up with that. And again, keep an eye on our newsletters. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, Anthony. And yeah, great. Now, Maureen, finally coming to you. I should mention too, unfortunately, a lot of the support group hosts weren't able to come today, but we've got Susan, Maureen and Rob who are part of that. And we're sort of trying to grow that gathering to serve people in different ways. It pleases me a lot to be able to offer that and to hopefully spread the message of love ultimately. But yeah, Maureen, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, and so nice to see everybody, old friends and new ones. And funny, you are getting very telepathic, Michael. Maybe you always are, because if you'd mentioned my name, and if you'd called on me, I would have said, "I want to hear from Susan first." So thank you. Yes, I do have a support group. My name is Maureen Edwardson. My website is maureenedwardson.com. My work is Inner Resonance Technologies, and it's the 35th year of focusing on this as my main way of being in the world that was given to me for these times of the great shift of the ages. And I just love to gift free sessions to everybody that shows up because it's remarkable work. Yes, in my book, Your Magical Evolutionary Code Unleashed, The Science of Inner Resonance, I'm blessed to be endorsed by Dr. Bruce Lipton on his website and on the top of my book, my front page, etc. Anyhow, it's a formula of questions that's designed to activate and catalyze your superconscious quantum self, which has the all of everything that we're part of in our infinite nature directly available to us in frequencies, and also knows what's no longer relevant, no longer is necessary to continue dragging forward and creating the crap magnets in our life. If I were to rename my book, I would call it You Are Not Your Crap Magnet, a case of mistaken identification. I think that's a catchy title. Anyhow, there's more to come on all of that. And in the meantime, I have been focusing the last 7 years, particularly on that next evolutionary capacity that we all have. Because in the meantime, I've been more like, Michelangelo, helping people wake up their inner Michelangelo, which knows, sees, has the vision of the purity of our David within, that magnificent, shining, inspirational self who just by being, just gobsmacks everyone that shows up in his presence. And so Michelangelo, when asked, how did you do that intricate, incredible, magnificent sculpture? I mean, all your work is great, Mike, but that one, whoa, over the top, man. He said, well, he was already in there. All I did was chip away everything that wasn't him. So basically, that is the concept of inner resonance technologies, IRT, which is, allowing us to get that power hose and wash all the muck of the meltdown from the collective caterpillar as we are emerging as the butterfly of sipping nectar and creating beautiful landscapes and enjoying this new earth that we're all here to co-create. Yes, so I love how simple, how fast, how profound it is, because it's beyond the conscious mind. I'm starting a mindless movement. And it's beyond the body's need to keep acting out what's no longer relevant or necessary. So, as Bruce Lipton says, we're all out of our minds because the mind is a field all around us that keeps poking at us, giving that experience. Some is relevant, others not quite so great. So we get to allow that superconscious quantum self that has all of everything that is. I have a friend and she broke her shoulder. I was doing some work with her, and she calls that part of herself Little Miss Know-It-All. So we all have a little Miss Know-It-All, or uh, a big Mr. Know-It-All uh, within our own field, and it has everything that we need. We are part of and one with all of it, all my relations. And by breathing, because we're recycled, by breathing, we're breathing in holographic particles of the whole history of creation. And so by breathing physically, we are one. So even though you're in your own little Zoom boxes, wherever you happen to be in the world, we're breathing the same air. And so it's pretty amazing when we consider that as our reality, that we are not separate. There is no separation. So IRT allows each of us to shift and clear all of what's not us. And what I love is that we're moving into that next level of our evolutionary potential very rapidly in this great shift of the ages. So for the last 7 years, my work is focused on human redefined, waking up your grand cosmic self. There you go. Grand cosmic self. Who said that? And so we are here already. We are it. There's nowhere to go except allow ourselves to be, and allow that part of us that knows the truth of us to continuously and exponentially and fast track the muck that just interferes and no longer necessary to swim through, to be the shining lights and be the inspiration and bring our gifts to the party that we're all enjoying and co-creating the new earth together with. And anybody would like to experience it's a really simple. And anytime I gift someone with this work, it is a gift that keeps on giving, because when you shift and clear everything that in this moment is not the truth of who you are, that's what I call experiencing the chemistry of wholeness on a whole new level, and that frequency of greater freedom to be more of your magnificent self than you ever had access to, because all the static, all the resistance is calmed and neutralized, and here you are now at the center of your moment, your presence, the gift that you are. And then you get to program that into a reactivation switch, whether it's tongue in the roof of your mouth or your heart, or doesn't matter, because doesn't matter where you put it. Because then on a daily basis, you can do that. But I also refer to this as a cosmic super duper defrag and antiviral program for your quantum supercomputer matrix of reality. And so when I did a talk, I was a keynote presenter in Paris in March. I started with, so who is ready for a radical shift of their reality? Whoa! And this was what I thought were mainstream people, but it turned out that, of course, they were very there on a spiritual journey and full receptivity. And it is now, isn't it, Michael, that we are shifting into that next level of what it means to be beyond what we considered human to be. We are limitless. We are beyond our definition. So that's why I say human redefined, because Hugh is another word for God. Go figure. And if you contact me, I will also send you a copy of my book.
And if you would like to be part of Maureen's support group sessions, you can just go to beyondbeinghuman.org/support-groups and scroll down, and you'll come to here, and you can just click here and it jumps down to this calendar magically, and you can book in, and when you book in, you'll get the Zoom link. And same with Rob, and same with Susan.
My support group is the last Saturday of the month at noon Pacific time. I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
I wanted to also mention someone who couldn't make it today and another podcast that we're doing. I'm really, really happy to get this going. And Jennifer and I had a chat the other day, and we've got about 3 or 4 other people in the wings, so to speak. Yeah, so have a look at that page, please. beyondbeinghuman.org/mystics brings you to this page, but also check out VRX-mystics. And this page is part of the Virtual Realm Exchange, as I call it, which is a library of all sorts of different things to do with our themes that we're exploring. So this page is going to expand on all of these different mystics. It's a very, very rich kind of history of human contact with the divine. That's sort of one of the key points about it. But going beyond the veil, and many people are exploring near-death experiences now, and people like Swedenborg spent a long time convening with angels beyond the veil and being shown all sorts of different things. And I find that absolutely fascinating. But anyway, that's there for you to explore on the Beyond Being Human website. Goldie, would you like to come in and have a bit of a chat? We've only just met.
Yes, we've only just met. Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see you all. There are some faces that are familiar on here, actually. I think maybe from Gene Keys calls, perhaps. I know a few of you. And yeah, I've been involved with the Gene Keys since quite a long time, and I've been on quite a few of those calls over the years. So yeah, yes, I know. I remember you, Maureen. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. It's so nice to connect with you all. Somebody messaged me on Instagram, actually. I never go on Instagram ever to join this call. So when I saw that message and my body woke itself up at 5:35 a.m. this morning, because I'm in Thailand, so this call started at 6 a.m. I knew that there was obviously some incredible people here to connect with. And yeah, as usual, the body was correct. I've really, really enjoyed listening to everybody's sharings. Thank you so much for the meditation. It was so beautiful and it resonated so truly with my experience, like what I experienced. It was completely right. The number was 18. That 18 was the year that I left my true being to want to be well, I didn't understand what then, but I went to law school to be a lawyer. And that's the year that I really started to kill my intuition intentionally using substances and these things. And yeah, really finding the golden key and unlocking the door to like come back to my passion. That's exactly what's happening now in my experience of life. So that's so beautiful. Thank you all so much. And yeah, Jenna, I don't know if she's still there or not, but her projects, I've met Jenna somewhere. I think I actually might have met her at a party called Eden, hilariously. Or again, maybe it was the Gene Keys. I'm not sure. Her projects are so resonant with the project which we're currently co-creating here. We've launched in Koh Phangan, which is a tropical island in southern Thailand, called Lumina Casa, for anybody that's interested. Essentially, what we're doing is we're co-creating network of living temple sanctuaries, radical acceleration of excellence centers. So our vision that these actual real world properties are going to be like in the locations to create some kind of light grid, which is going to allow all of us, all of the visionary leaders, all of the conscious co-creators, all of the founders, all of the people on like us on this call who have been living separately until now and have been doing all of our individualistic efforts, all of our selfless service, all of our heart service. But we've been, I mean, I don't know about you lot, but for a lot of it, I've been kind of on my own. I haven't really been surrounded by other people of the same kind of expanse of awareness of my own personal experience. And it's been quite lonely and quite challenging. So my intention is to co-create 55 nodes globally in the next 5 years, where we can live together to co-create, not necessarily to live permanently. Obviously, people have their own lives, but to come together in sacred space and to be able to sit with each other and to receive each other's light and to receive each other's love and support each other and hold each other whilst we realize our true purpose and whilst we're actually able to manifest our intentions to bring about this new earth, this golden age of peace. Like I've been blessed with some extraordinary experiences where I have actually experienced what the humans refer to as the golden age or the fifth dimensional awareness of consciousness. I actually was resonant in that space for like nearly a year, following a very large what you would call awakening or I don't like these terms. It's like awakening or enlightenment experience. I actually experienced the actual experience of unity consciousness for like a year of earth time, whilst also in this physical body, whilst also interacting with like 3D and 4D reality also, before coming back to a more sort of grounded experience to be able to actually implement the fifth dimensional plus awareness systems and technologies which we have in that frequency, which I'm now busy with my team, and anybody who wants to join us is extremely welcome. We're grounding it into the third and fourth dimensional awareness. So some of you might be familiar with blockchain technologies and cryptocurrency, this thing. So that's kind of the bridge, the basis for the light scalar technologies, the Lumos operating system, the Dragonfire technologies, which me and my team are bringing in. I can see Trina's like, yay! Yeah, so we're actually here in Koh Phangan. We've actually launched, this is our MVP. MVP is a minimum viable product. I think that's my personal Facebook page you've got there, actually, Michael. If you'd like to go to the luminacasa.co website, that's probably better for the purposes of my sharing. Thank you. So yeah, we're here now actually in Koh Phangan, and yeah, that's it. So you can it's welcome to the Relovution. It's not a revolution, it's a Relovution. So yeah, because we're all operating here from the heart space. But we're delighted to announce that we have actually grounded a new server-side server, if anybody knows anything about technologies or is interested, which is light scalar technology. So it's like literally an entirely different new way of operating here in the Earth system. We're in the stages of expanding the technology and in testing it in the Earth field. And we've got a new server called Lumos, which is light server technology and light scalar technology. And we've got a lot of new different, the humans will call it apps or dApps or, these things. It's various different technologies that are literally being brought into Earth's atmosphere to support all of us, to support our realization of our heart's dreams, to support the stabilization and the realization of heaven on earth, of the golden age of peace on earth. And yeah, we've got an incredible platform called Dream Starter, which I've just got a message last night from our development guys that it's ready to go. So I'm going to check it out today and test it and get our team to test it. And if it's ready, we're going to launch it. And what it does is it literally allows you to apply through our system. And if you are resonant with your heart's dream frequency, our technology will know that. So it will know that if it funds you for like the creation of your heart's dream, then you will succeed and it will fund you. And so you'll be able to have the material wealth, and also through our community system, you'll be able to have the emotional support and the guidance and the mentorship necessary to be able to realize your heart's dream. So that's just one of the technologies in our platform. And yeah, if anybody's interested here, everybody's welcome to join us. There's no special requirements needed to join us. You just need to want to. And you need to want to be in the heart space. You need to want to share your gifts. You need to want to be authentic and in truth and enjoy together, because we're a joy creation system at the end of the day. So yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm super glad that my body woke me up so early this morning. I'm going to go and actually teach some yoga in a minute. But yeah, I'm super grateful to see you all. And I hope that I'll get in touch and connect with a lot of you moving forward. Thank you all so much for your attention and your awareness and your presence. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Goldie. It's great to meet you, and I will be in touch. And
Thank you, love.
great. And I wanted to mention too, probably most of you would know about the private Facebook group that we run, and you can go to that, facebook.com/groups/Beyond Being Human Media. And there's nearly 2,500 people in there now, and different posts from a whole range of different people all the time, mostly about our themes and exploring different kinds of messages and what people are doing. And the way I use it myself is as a bookmark for things that I'm coming across and want to take note of and follow up. And it's also a great way for us to exchange messaging. But soon I'm going to be opening a website platform for the community, which in my present web format doesn't really allow for that. But I'm going to start getting a lot of more interactivity and discussion happening. Now, I'll pop back to Trina for a quick hello.
Wow, this is so fascinating. I'm still thinking about Maureen and Goldie's presentation because, well, I just want to let you know, I used to be a power engineer, which works with steam and that, okay. But then before that, even I was a computer network administrator, which installs computers in big buildings and then puts them all together and all the tech support and all that, right? And so when she was talking about defragging, and it made me think, yeah, full moon, which we're here today for, is sort of an ending of a cycle. And it reminded me of our brains and such are kind of like a computer where sometimes we do have to defrag. Sometimes we do have to get rid of the temporary files. By the way, that's a really good way to get your computer going fast again, is to get into your temporary files and delete those. Things like that. And so I thought that was fascinating. Both girls' presentation was fascinating. She had mentioned heart-centered abundance, and I literally had pulled the abundance card, and which was next to the original card, I am worthy of love, which is heart. So heart, abundance, going with your heart, and how you do, Michael, about leading the way with love, and I just think tonight is so fascinating. And I think this is a wonderful spiritual full moon energy that we're having together, because remember, the full moon's in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is about philosophy, is about spirituality, and is about exploring new paths, a new way of doing things, new life journeys and such. So very exciting. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Trina. So let's have another musical interlude. And I'd like to introduce Dana. And we've known each other now for over a year, I think, maybe even 2 years. It couldn't be that long, could it?
I'm not sure how time goes these days. Maybe I don't know. We met on a Unity Earth call. That's what I remember.
I was wanting to play a little bit of your music, and maybe just before I do, tell us what you do and where are you and what's going on.
I'm currently on Oahu, and Goldie, Swatika. I was in Thailand in the fall, and I did go to Kopangan, among other places, so I know where you are. I was there not too long ago. So blessings for what you're doing. I've actually been living by traveling the last 8 years on what I call adventures in trust. But right now I'm back in Hawaii, which has been like a soul home for me. But I'm on a different island. I'm on Oahu now. I used to be on the Big Island more, but I'm on Oahu. And I've really been developing over the last few years my work in sacred sound and using my voice in particular as a conduit for divine energies, for higher dimensional energies, for healing and consciousness expansion. And I sometimes call my sacred sound infusions Lemurian sound infusions because I'm very connected to Lemuria, the ancient civilization of light that once existed on Earth, actually in these parts in the Pacific, centered in the Pacific. And I feel that my sacred sound was something that I did at that time in my lifetimes in Lemuria, working with sound and light and geometry and water and creating into form in that way and bringing through very high frequencies of light and grounding them here on Earth. And that's what I'm continuing now to do in my sacred sound work, my mission. I do have a music background, and because of that, I like to create sacred sound infusions that are a little more complex and have some musical depth to them. So I like to create like different layers, and I sing and play live over the different sonic layers that I also create. So a lot of my sacred sound infusions might have like 12 or 13 different layers going on with my own voice and different vocal parts, crystal bowls, other instruments, other tracks, other ocean, dolphin, whales, things like that. They're all different, but the video that I suggested, it's called An Inside View into My Sacred Sound, and it's just a 2-minute excerpt, and it just has a little bit of annotation, a little bit of written commentary to show what I'm doing. And it's a sacred sound infusion that was intended as part of a meditation to radiate unconditional love as frequencies of liquid light into the oceanic grid network, to energize the ocean grids with the frequencies of unconditional love through liquid light. So that was the intention of this particular sound infusion. And you'll hear the ocean, you'll hear the dolphins and whales. And hopefully you can also add to that intention of energizing the oceanic grid network with unconditional love.
Thanks, Dana. And do you happen to know Joan Ocean?
Yeah. Actually, it was to attend one of her offerings that I first went to the Big Island. Yeah, in 2007. I even worked for her for a while. I actually helped her out in her office for a while.
Wow. I'd love to connect with her again. I actually went and visited Jean-Luc and Joan when they were in America. Wow, that's 1987.
Wow. She's still going strong. I think she's planning some major, I'm not sure if it's like a production or something in the fall that she's creating. I remember that. Saw that somewhere, but she's always really busy. Like she's always got a lot going on, and she's getting up there in years, but still very active. So
So
yeah.
I'm going to play your excerpt. Here we go. Thank you. Yeah, that's really good.
Michael, I have a question. Is everyone here connected through your Facebook page or on your website? Is that how we can stay connected with other people we've met tonight?
I know some of us are on his pages, but I'm not sure we all are.
There's many, many ways everyone can stay in touch. The Facebook private group is one of the main hubs at the moment, but the newsletter, if you go to beyondbeinghuman.org beyondbeinghuman.org/news. You can sign up for the newsletter there, and you can email me at beyondbeinghuman@gmail.com. Like, we're going to have more of these kinds of groups. In fact, I'm even thinking of starting a new moon group, which will be on Patreon. Crowdfunding campaign is going to focus a lot on our cast for the proposed documentary that's a long-term work in progress and slowly but surely unfolding and coming into fruition. What I was saying is, does anyone want to ask any of the others questions? Goldie.
I'm not aware about what's going on with your documentary situation. I would love to know what your vision is, because I've got a guy here who's an incredible documentary maker, visionary artist when it comes to videography, etc., and editing. And I'd invited him actually to come to record a couple of weeks of live events that we've been producing, which is documenting the Radical Excellence Centre's emergence, like our technologies and things. And he actually messaged me yesterday and said that he would like to make a documentary about us and our community. So I don't know what kind of state you're at or stage you're in, but I've got a guy who's extremely talented, who I'm having a meeting with tomorrow, who appears to want to create a documentary about us. Like, if you'd like to share where you're at, and maybe we can see how we can get together to co-create or to assist each other in this field.
Absolutely fantastic. I love talking with other filmmakers, and yes, in time we will be requiring crew, in fact, in various different countries. And the scope of the documentary is pretty big. It's I sort of like have been guided with various messages from the angels, I believe, and that's how all of the topics, the 12 themes of what we're exploring, came about. I mean, there's a long story behind all of that, but let me share this page. Talks about the documentary. It's just beyondbeinghuman.org/documentary. And so those are the 12 themes we're looking at: angels, extraterrestrials, star children, hybrids, contact experiences, paranormal, shamanism, walk-ins, spirituality, ecology, consciousness, and mystics, which was only just added this year. It's a very rich, broad scope of a project. It would take way too long to really kind of explain it, but have a read of this page. It'll give you some insight, though it is not really the full picture either. And we're very much on a mission right now to raise some funds. We've got activity going on in the crowdfunding thing, which has just started, and I'd love it for people to go to the Patreon, just look up Beyond Being Human. But there's also another page that I can share.
And I'd like to put in a good word for Michael and supporting Michael. He does so much for everyone else in indigenous cultures. We talk about spider women, people that connect, but Michael's kind of a spider man. He's always connecting people and supporting other people's work. And I just want to put in a good word for supporting Michael. I think his vision is really big, and it's been interesting over the years to watch Michael's vision come into reality, maybe not as fast as he would like. But I do think that it's happening, and so if you have a moment to go and support Michael, I just want to put in a word for that. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Susan. And Maureen, hey.
Hi. No, I second that because, Michael, you're so busy doing everything for all of us and so much of everything all the time that you don't have enough time to make money. So just recognizing that, and I think we all understand that way of being. And so I just also wanted to second that. And I forgot to announce something really spectacular that I have a new program starting in September 13th. Finally, after all these years, I get to do, that next level that I'm really passionate about. And we're creating a collaborator and Ayuko who is also a facilitator of inner resonance technologies, we're creating a tooth and gum regeneration program because we have all the programs within us. We're always regenerating and rejuvenating ourselves. And IRT has helped people regrow teeth before. And Yuko created a regeneration of her gums when she was up against potential of surgery. And so she said, "Give me 6 months." So she's got that part, and she's also got the IRT part. So we are creating magic in that next level of activating our inner programs that know how to, yeah, to regenerate ourselves in whatever level. And I regenerated my heart a year ago when I had a heart attack in Spain, in Ibiza. And 3 days later, there was uh, yeah, they couldn't see any blockages in my heart at all, and, got kicked out of the hospital. 4 days later, I'm on the plane, 18 hours back from Spain to Vancouver through, through Amsterdam. So, yeah, I'm a medical miracle, and we are all a miracle. So, let's just wake up those codes. Let's wake up and create, uh, together. So, but I just wanted to invite everybody to that. And you can sign up for that on my website if you want. And yeah.
And I should mention
Yeah,
too,
thank you.
I met Maureen by being referred to some other people, Connie and Andrew, and I had a locked shoulder at that time, but now it's, I think probably 90% fixed after doing a couple of sessions with Maureen, and it was pretty miraculous at the time because I was in a lot of pain and taking painkillers and whatever, and did one session and it was like, "Oh, wow, that's magic."
Oh, we
So
are magical. We are
yeah,
infinite.
oh yeah.
And don't
So
leave it, with 10%, Michael, we still have that 10%. We're used to making do with better, and we can be awesome.
indeed,
Beyond,
yeah.
beyond.
So time's running out, but I wanted to maybe just finish about this and what you're saying, Maureen, and everyone. In fact, what my intention is with the website eventually, hopefully, is to have like a bulletin board of people. That's the way that the private Facebook in particular, is working now. So everyone can post what they're doing and uh, keep everyone updated. But I'd just like to jump back to Adrian, who runs a company called Magic Box, which is a all-inclusive web platform. Would you like to talk about the community side of that, please, Adrian?
I'll just share briefly. When I moved my business onto Magic Box, we were using like a plethora of different tools. We had one for sales management, another one for email marketing, another one for the phone system, another one for SMS marketing, another one for doing social media management, another one for reputation management, another one for CRM, and there was so many things to manage. And then I put it all into Magic Box, and we saved $1,000 a month immediately. It was like 12 grand a year just by putting it all into one platform. And it has a whole bunch more on there, including community management tools. So things like setting up a private community space. People have probably heard of platforms like School, where people create your own community and put courses and online courses and everything. It has all of that included, plus all of the other bits and pieces as well. So you can run your own private communities, courses, trainings, have subscriptions, pay per course, all that kind of stuff. Manage your whole business on the platform. And so, Michael, I shared it with Michael the other day, and he said, "Oh, might be useful to some people here."
Yeah, and it's obviously going to take me a while to move our very large, expansive website over, but I'm looking forward to doing that. So thanks, Adrian.
Mm.
We've got a couple other people here in the audience. Would you like to say anything, anyone? I'm going to give a strawberry to everyone. Got a whole lot of them here. I think we've celebrated the strawberry moon. Is there anything else to add about that?
Wow, what a wonderful strawberry moon, full moon in Sagittarius, folks. I really enjoyed this today. I was going to do some mini readings for people, but I decided instead to give us all our own readings. And so, what I want you to think about is what day you're born. For example, I was born on January 22nd to 22nd. And so, let's say that you were born on one of those double digits, just add them up so that you get a reduced number from 1 to 9. And I'm going to tell you, these are some extra superpowers that you can add into your life, into your business to align yourself better and that to abundance in all forms for this super abundant Sagittarius full moon. So if you were born on the 1st or the 10th, if you're born on the 1st or the 10th, you're a trailblazer, you're a leader, you should have your own brand. Okay. You should have your own business. If you were born on the 2nd or the 20th, you're the innovative connector, one-on-one groups, harmony relationships, mentorship, nurturing between two people. Okay. You have empathy on your side and sacred listening as a two. Now, if you were born on the 3rd or on the 30th or on the 21st or the 12th, something that adds up to 3, you're the communicator. You need to add networking, writing, and talking, and joy spreading, and being live on social media and getting out there and networking. You're here to inspire and to uplift people, but through communication, you're just a natural communicator. You got to use that. If you're born on the 4th, the 13th, or the 31st, for example, something that adds up to 4, even the 22nd, you're a foundation maker, you're strategic. Solid systems are for you. Long-term plans. You're not the fast. Okay. Your skill is to be organized and create systems for people in some way. You're here to build things that last. If you're born on the 5th, or let's say the 23rd, not only are you good looking, anybody who's a 5 born on the 5th or the 23rd or something like that, the 14th, you're a freedom seeker, you're unconventional, you're not meant to fit in the mold. So accept that you're unique and not fitting in the box. You're here for variety, experience, and travel. Add that to your repertoire, your skills. Okay. Your business works best when you're flexible, when it's exciting, when there's variety. So add that. People want to watch you, 5s. If you're born on the 6th, or on the 24th, for example, or on the 15th. Well, the 6 is the heart-centered healer. You definitely love people back to life. Add that, the emotion. You provide comfort and clarity to people, transformational containers. If you're born on the 7th, or on the 16th, for example, or the 25th, well, you are the mystic guide. It's all up here, intellectual property. You should write a book. It's okay to be introverted, maybe holding little retreats for people, quiet stuff, philosophy stuff, spiritually inclined stuff. But you should probably write a book or use your intellectual property. That's a skill, a superpower that you may or may not know that you already have. If you're born on the 8th or 17th or so on, you are the soul CEO. It's how to master the material world with a spiritual way. You have that way of combining both ways. And so money stuff, mindset coaching, wealth generation, money mindset, all that's going to be very good for you to add to your list of skills. And finally, if you are born on the 9th or on the 18th, you're a humanitarian, but for the collective, you do better on group settings and putting from pain to purpose. You understand that transformation, that journey you want to take your clients through. And there's 2 master numbers. If you're born on the 11th, you're extra special. Any 11th of the month, that's a very emotional, you're an intuitive visionary. You're definitely the spirit-led messenger. You are the message, 11s. You carry amplified intuition and you illuminate what others don't see. So add that into your thing. Intuitive awakening, for example. And finally, 22. For me, I was born on January 22nd. This is me, the sacred builder. This is about a master manifester. We don't just dream, we build. We take that and make it into systems like certification programs, for example, or funnels, or making a system and that structure. So I just want to put that in there for you so you can add to your life with your special superpowers. And that's how I want to end this beautiful full moon party that we had today. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah. So I'm on the 25th of January, by the way.
Okay.
Hmm.
So 25 is 7. And so you know about the 7, but guess what? You can also take the 2 energy and the 5 energy and put those together as well, because you're born on a double number. Lucky you. You could take 2 is nurturing and one-on-ones and that kind of vibe, which we all feel from you. We can always, you feel like that good partnership vibe. And the 5 likes to explore and travel and expand, and people like to watch what you're doing. And so you could take those 2 numbers as well. So that's fun. Yes, and this is taken from my Soul Start mini course.
Maybe we
It's a
should make
video
a
course on my website. Launch your
system
spiritual
together, Trina.
business with magic and clarity and purpose. If you're interested, it's a cheap, like less, very non-expensive. If you're interested in launching your own business, I have some business courses, and you might be interested in that on my website, www.themoontree.org.
Most of the folks here have profile pages, and you can find out, and we'll keep those updated as well, and various links and things, and we'll add videos and books and all sorts of stuff as we go. And with the website, if you go to the Connect tab, that's where all the people live, more or less, and all of these sort of different categories. And the one that's growing rapidly now as I work on the documentary is the cast of the documentary. Many, many amazing people, and there's videos of Adam and Melissa talking, and that's the first release on Patreon, but you can see it also as a member on Beyond Being Human. And speaking of membership, this is my last little plug for Beyond Being Human. If you go to beyondbeinghuman.org/membership, you can find out all about that. And right now, like, rather than actually joining here, if you go to Patreon and pay the same amount, you get a whole lot more than just being a member on our platform. Though if you're a member on Patreon, you get access to the full website offerings as well. And I'll be building that more and more as time goes on. Anyone want to ask anyone questions? That was my last little thing. Oh, Vicki.
Hi, Michael, and everyone. I just wanted to acknowledge you, Michael, for all the work you've done. And I think I might be the oldest that has known you since the 80s. I just want to acknowledge you for your. I started my crystal healing work back in the 80s. Michael had a book called Crystal Visionary. That's what started my world with crystals. And for the last 40 years, I've been working with crystal energies, also working around the world with the grid. And my work with the crystal skulls was potent back in the 90s and up until 2008. And I live in Avalon in Sydney, Australia. But I just wanted to acknowledge you from where you've come, Michael, today. And everyone else, has been wonderful to listen. And I haven't jumped on board for a while because I've been doing my own grid work in many ways. I just wanted to actually say a prayer, if I could, of the 7 galactic directions of Jose Arguelles, which I've been following for 30 years. And if no one knows Jose, he was the initiator of the 1987 harmonic convergence. And I think also Michael met Jose and interviewed him. I'm not sure what year. I'd like to just read out the 7 galactic directions. From the east house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. We need this so much at the moment. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Uyum hunab ku, Eva Maya Imaho. Oyum hunab ku, Eva Maya Imaho. Oyum hunab ku, Eva Maya Imaho. This was Jose's prayer. In my early days, I used to actually say it religiously, but now it's just a part of me, like you all know. So I just wanted to share that to acknowledge, because on Facebook today, I actually put out about the turtle and the tree in prayer. So blessed be in Lakesh. Thank you, Michael. Bless you all.
Well, thank you, Vicki. And you're amazing too, the way you travel around and spend a lot of time in Glastonbury. And we must do an interview at some point looking at all of those sorts of journeys that you've done, and with the crystal skulls as well, and with Joshua. And yes, I met Jose in 1987 when I did a 2-month trip to America and went to a whole lot of crystal conferences. And the Crystal Visionary is now on Beyond Being Human as well. And eventually I'll probably open its own singular website. I'm going to be putting all of the magazines. This is the last magazine. I did 7 issues and then compiled it all into this book. Inside here somewhere is Jose. It might take me a while to find it, but eventually I'll be publishing that on the website as well. I think we kind of got to wrap up. Any last words, anyone?
I wanted to say thank you, Michael, for everything. You're helping me to come out of my shell and embrace my life path 3, and with your life path 4 being structure, Michael, I think we mesh really well together, and I'm really enjoying this journey that we've recently embarked on. And I love all the guests today speaking. I really learned a lot, and it's really nice to be around some high vibe, intelligent people. May I say that? So I really hope that we can all stay together and keep coming to these things together and keeping up.
Well, it's very, very heartening for me how the growth is happening with the community and how amazing people, like just right from the beginning when I first had the angelic encounter and started meeting people, such as Mary Rodwell was one of the first, and she's mega famous, as most people would know. And like we've got a huge future, I think. Adrian.
Yeah, I just also want to say thank you, Michael, for inviting me into this meeting today to meet all these amazing people and hear some amazing voices and stories and ideas, and to have the opportunity to share a little bit about our conversation and the podcast idea that we talked about, and Magic Box. And yeah, love what you're doing, Michael. Awesome work.
And you too. I mean, you've had major success with animation and whatever. Is there any particular project you're working on now that you want to share?
I probably should have shared a little bit about myself earlier on, but my career work and my business has been mostly in animation and video production. I'm very fortunate to get to work with some amazing organizations and telling some interesting stories. We're working with the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water, the federal government department here in Australia, to help them tell their stories about ocean literacy, to raise awareness around the importance of the ocean. And at the moment, you may have heard of that there's a big conference in Nice in France at the moment, the UN conference. I think it's called Ocean Protection or something like that, which is really about, we're starting to realize, and the governments and organizations around the world are starting to recognize the importance of the oceans in our worlds. So not just things like the forests, the rainforests, nature and everything. It's like, hang on, the oceans are like fundamentally important. So there's a bit of a movement there to kind of recognize how important they are, not just for food, but for power, for water, for oxygen. 50% of our oxygen comes from the ocean. So there's a lot going on there, and we're kind of, a lot of the world is trashing it at the moment. So yes, it is, as Dana says, sacred work. And I get to play a little bit with the government, albeit within the limited frameworks of what they're allowed to say, because they're very, very conservative in what they can say. But it's because they have to talk to everybody and not just people with open minds. So that's kind of a fun project to work on. And we've got another one doing about reefs at the moment, the Great Barrier Reef, similar sort of thing. So we get to tell some cool stories for that. Plus, I've got so many projects on the boil, Michael. I've got too many going on, so I don't want to take up too much of the airwaves here. But just wanted to say thanks for.
It's great to have you here, and great to reconnect after it's nearly a decade, I think. So with that, folks, I think we're going to say goodbye finally. So let me just go to gallery view and everyone can wave, whoever's left. I can't even see myself there.
Love you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Grateful. Bye.
Thank you.